Awesome. Hey, everyone. Here we are with Susie Taylor from Taylor Made Marketing and the lovely co-host. Well, welcome, everybody.
Hi.
Great to be here.
Susie, why don't you tell us a little bit, give us a quick introduction to who Taylor Made Marketing is and what it is that you do.
All right. Well, you know how small business owners wake up every morning and they just get so excited about updating the content on their websites, and they just are so excited about getting on social media and putting new content up every day. Yeah, no, that's not the case at all. But that's what I do. I help them get a content calendar together. We figure out how they can keep their content updated. I do it for them if they want, but that's primarily the work that I do.
I like the humor. It's very well done. How do you focus in? Because I believe your background is in writing. Is that correct? Or how do you focus in on the digital marketing at this point in time?
Well, I've actually been writing professionally for about 40 years. I started as a newspaper reporter back in the early 80s, and then went on to the public relations side, went to the dark side and got into some public relations. And then I started my family in 1992, and that's when things kind of slowed down a little bit. And
Right.
by 1997, I had 3 young boys, and the freelance writing business that I started when the 2 older boys were a little younger just kind of fell flat because there's not a whole lot of time for a mom of 3 young boys. So I kept one client for about 20 years, and then uh, my I was the primary caregiver for my oldest son. He had multiple disabilities, and he passed away in June of 2021. And so in July of 2021, I'm like thinking, okay, who am I now and what am I supposed to do? So I just jumped in with both feet, and since July of 2021, I've really been focusing in on trying to build some sort of a business, and it seems like digital is the way to go right now. So
Yeah, I can agree with you more. And I think being a writer, having that as your experience is really good because you can have social media, but if it's not engaging or it doesn't, it doesn't get people excited, then there's no point having it. It's like having a website. If
exactly.
it doesn't hook people in, then it's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
yeah.
having a car without wheels.
Yeah. Oh,
You
that's a
have a
good
car,
analogy. That's very
right?
good. Yeah.
Just came up with that. So I think that's probably a really really good advantage that you have over other people, Susie. Having that ability to create content that draws people in. Hey, do you find that the case?
I think so. I've kind of focused in on a couple of different processes. I don't know if you've heard of building a story brand with Donald Miller, or the Go Giver with Bob Berg. Those are both philosophies that I resonate with. And I really try to express to my clients how they should serve and not focus so much on selling. And then the building a story brand, I have said forever that everyone has a story, and making your customer the hero of their story is the way you bring them in and build a relationship with them.
Yeah, I often think that social media is the way to keep you top of mind. So when
Mhm.
people think, oh, I need X, Y, and Z, they think of that company that's doing that social media, and then that's
Mhm.
when the transaction starts to take place. Is this a good fit? Do they have what I want? But social media is, in my opinion, the purpose is just to get you to be within that either top level
Mhm.
or the few being considered, right?
Yeah, you want your brand or your company to come up when someone thinks, "Oh, I have this problem," and then your company comes up right away as the solution. And that's what content marketing is all about, is letting people know how you can solve their problems.
Do you have like an ideal type of client? So, like size or a company who's trying to grow, for example, or different situations like that? Or, do you have a variety of clients that you offer your services to?
I like to focus in on service providers, so coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, that sort of thing. But I work with a couple of agencies, and then I write for their clients, and their clients can be anything from a university online program to a LoJack distributor, and so I get to learn a lot of really fun things.
So are you looking for other agencies, or are you focusing more on the on the client side of things where they just come to you with their business?
I'd like to focus a little bit more on the client side of things. One thing that I would love to really focus on is helping business owners promote their business through either a book or online courses.
Hmm.
And I can help them develop the online course and put it up on a platform and provide the printed materials, anything that they need, and I can also help them write a book about their business and how they can solve people's problems.
And then all the marketing behind promoting that
Absolutely.
product,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
whether it comes with talks or webinars or anything like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's awesome, Havel. I think that's a really interesting service where, again, you're taking those writing skills and you're extending those, but bringing them back into the digital marketing world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
It's a
cool.
fun job.
What's the thing that you enjoy about it most? Well, what's the most fulfilling for you?
The most fulfilling thing is when I provide copy for somebody's website, and then they contact me a couple of weeks later or a couple of months later and say, I've got and so I've had so many people contact me since you redid our website. Or and then the other thing that's fun is, COVID was such a terrible, terrible thing that happened in our world. But for me personally, it opened the world to me because I now have colleagues and clients basically all over the world: Australia, the Philippines, Pakistan, Ecuador, Colombia, all over Canada and the US. And it's just amazing to me how, uh, how easy it is to communicate with someone who's on the other side of the world. And right now, that's probably the most fulfilling thing, is meeting people all over the world and helping them.
It's fascinating, isn't it? I just recently have a client who's in Australia, but she grew up about 100, what was it, within about half an hour of where I grew up as a little kid. So we both have very similar English accents, but we live on the opposite side of the world from each other, not in the UK. It's quite fascinating to have those connections, those personal connections with humans, right, and develop those relationships with people.
Hmm.
That's super
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. I have a group of writers that I've been meeting with weekly for 3 years now. And one of them's in Nigeria, one of them's in Australia. The others are all over the US, and I consider them some of my best friends. I have never physically met them, but they were with me when my son died. They helped me get through that. They were wonderful, wonderful friends. And I never would have met them if it hadn't been for the experiences that we all went through with that terrible pandemic.
Right. I think that, I think the hardest part of all of that is just getting the time zones right. Be- beyond
That's right. That's right. I
beyond
tried
that,
to work with my client. I tried working with my client in Australia, and I'm like, all right, well, it'll be 7 a.m. for me, but it's going to be 6 p.m. for you, or it's going to be 8 p.m. for me, or it'll be 7 a.m. the next morning for you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's been fun. That's been fun.
It's when it crosses over into the next day, I find complicated. But okay, so you're,
Yeah.
if it's 3 hours or 4 hours, if it's within the same day, that's easy. If it's like,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know, so your Monday's my Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Val, do you have
Yeah.
questions for Susie?
Well, I was hoping we could talk a little bit, or Susie could let us know and the listeners know where to find her. 'Cause I'm interested, and I know that she's got a couple of really good websites. So let's talk about that right now.
All right. Well, my professional website is under SusieTaylorWrites.com. So it's just as it sounds, SusieTaylorWrites.com. I also have a blog. It's under Sticks and Stones. I broke every naming convention that you're not supposed to break, but I was dead set on Sticks and Stones. So it's actually STIX-hyphen and that's where I just sort of write my feelings about the world today. And my tagline is that words have power, use them with compassion. And then I also have a Facebook group called Sticks and Stones where I put out positive messages morning and night every day. And it's just a place for people to get some good positivity. I'm also on Facebook under as Susie Taylor Writes, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So just look for me.
I love the quote in Susie Taylor Writes that everyone has a story. I can help you tell yours. I think that's so catching. And everyone does have a story,
Absolutely.
Truly,
Absolutely.
truly.
Well, I think that's back to that human element we were talking about, in the sense of, at the end of the day, once the product has been sold or the service has been done, it's that human connection. It's the enjoyment of working with somebody, whether that's, you get on with them buddy, or they're just super efficient, whatever it is that you're connecting with, right? And it's like connecting to them beyond the product. I think that's where that story element comes into it, because that's really what we're purchasing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's what makes me a little different too from other content writers or copywriters, is that I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've seen a lot of different eras, I guess. I don't feel like I'm 62, but that is the truth. But I've also had some life experiences that kind of make me a little bit more able to empathize and connect with people a little bit better, I think.
That's a really good point too. I think that's where the wisdom comes into it, is through those experiences. And yeah, I mean, it passes through your writing, right? Through your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why did you mentioned earlier the different sectors that you have clients in? A, can you remind us what they were, and B, why those sectors? What is it about those sectors that you enjoy working with?
And this is going to sound really goody two shoes, but I want to change the world. I want to change the world. And if I can help somebody who's helping other people, then that's my effort to change the world. And I've met some amazing coaches and consultants and speakers and authors. And if I can help them get their word out and reach their ideal clients to give them the support that they need, then that's my job. They've got a very heart-based business. They want to change the world one person at a time, or one speech at a time, one book at a time, whatever. And that's where I can jump in and sort of ride along on their coattails.
That's amazing. I think that's really admirable. Good for you.
Thanks. I will say that's a lesson. That's one of the lessons that I learned from my oldest son. He was nonverbal, used a wheelchair, was blind, had a feeding tube, required total care, but he had this laugh that could make anyone start to giggle. And he always lived in the moment and treated everyone the way that they treated him. And I really took that as a lesson to keep his legacy alive by continuing to try to treat people the way he did.
Well, talking about story, I am sure it's a beautiful story, and it's a beautiful, beautiful reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Let's wrap things up. Val, do you have any last final questions for Susie?
No, other than congratulations on Bob Berg's book and the use thereof of his teachings. I'm a proponent as well, so very. He's got an interesting book for any of the listeners out there called, I believe it's Go Givers Sell More.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called? Go Givers Sell More. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a very altruistic take on this whole selling business.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's well done you for incorporating that into your company.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Susie, excited for people to check out your website. Tell people once again how they can contact you.
They can contact me at susietaylorwrites.com. My email is susie.taylor.writer@outlook.com. And I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. So I think I'm just Susie Taylor on LinkedIn, but I'm Susie Evans Taylor on Facebook.
Awesome. Val, thank you for being part of this conversation. Susie Taylor, Taylor Made Marketing, thank you very much. Everybody, go check her out. Have a lovely evening, everybody.
Thanks. Take care.